Welcome. Welcome to the Me and White Supremacy virtual pilgrimage. My name's the Reverend John Borthwick, and I'm inviting my congregation to join me on a journey through Layla Saad's work, Me and White Supremacy. This week we're at week 16. We've taken breaks, and I had a break personally of my shoulder, and so we've taken some breaks along the way, but we're keeping on track, and we're continuing to dive into this work of excavation and discovery, confronting and making choices to think differently about the system that we live in, the water we swim in. And so today we're looking at what is white centering. Layla starts this chapter with a quote from Toni Morrison, and the quote is this: "I've had reviews in the past that have accused me of not writing about white people, as though our lives have no meaning and no depth without the white gaze. And I've spent my entire writing life trying to make sure that the white gaze was not the dominant one in any of my books." Toni Morrison. So what's interesting around this white centering is as we've been on this journey, we're trying to think through how we've been raised, the system we live in, the way we navigate the world, especially from a white perspective, has made itself the dominant one, and to push that further, has sought to be the supremacist one, the one that's centered, the one that's the only way of seeing the world. And so this white centering idea is a good concept to dig into, because when we think about white centering as a white person with privilege, I can reflect on the ways in which, when I'm in a room, over the years, I'm aware of the times when I've felt uncomfortable or not engaged with something, or thinking that this isn't for me, because of that pervasive, down deep within my DNA system that says, well, if it's not about whiteness, although I would never probably have said that or articulated that, then I guess this isn't for me. I'll give a couple of examples just to sort of flesh this out a bit. Over the years, I've had the opportunities to travel to the United States and go to academic conferences and events that are around ministry in various places. And every time I'd go to those kind of conferences, whether it was at Princeton or times in Chicago for larger conferences, there would always be a component within the American milieu, the American context. There'd be a component related to race or the African American experience. Almost always was always included. And I'll confess that in my early days of doing that and not having awoken fully to the ways in which I'm wired, there were times when I'd be in conferences and think to myself, oh, this isn't, I'm Canadian. How come, this isn't for me. And mentally, I would actually turn off. I confess that as a way of saying that's a form of white-centeredness, a sense of, oh, well, this isn't about me because it's about black people, or it's about BIPOC, or it's about race relations. That's not something I need to engage with. Another way I've seen it is maybe more recently. I've seen it where I've been experiencing amongst a white community the question that's raised of how come everything now has some kind of BIPOC element to it, whether it's in media. Why is there so much now? Every media outlet you see, there's somebody who's black or indigenous or a person of color is there, and I see that as this sort of this disruption within whiteness that says somehow that's a threat or that's a concern, or it may even be a bit of this belief or this idea of tokenism that we're going to talk about actually next week. And so as I think and dig deep and excavate within my own self around what is white-centeredness or white-centering, I need to challenge within myself those feelings that bubble up when I see an event that says this part of this event is intended to be a safe space for BIPOC, and therefore if you identify as white, you're not welcome to attend. And I need to be okay with that. I need to, if the disruption comes, I need to challenge that, excavate that, think about that more deeply. In one part, I need to do that because by pulling myself out of the center of things, it allows for more voices to be heard. By disrupting or decentering whiteness all the time as the dominant and only narrative, we miss out on the opportunity to hear other voices, other experiences, other perceptions and perspectives and worldviews. If we're ever going to get to the change that we need to see in this world, one of the pieces and a component of that has to be disrupting and decentering whiteness. And that's a hard road for some individuals who identify as white. It's a hard road when we can't simply hear the hashtag Black Lives Matter without thinking that somehow that's marginalizing white people, or following it up with hashtag All Lives Matter. There's a sense that sometimes what we need to hear and the dominant word and expression in a moment, in a time, in a space, in a place is actually something that's not about you as a white person or you as the dominant narrative. We need to hear other voices. We need to listen deeply to other things, and we need to stand up for those who have found themselves marginalized and pushed out because of the centering of whiteness. It's something we need to think about, something we need to excavate and challenge and confront in order to move forward in this journey of anti-racism. So I'm grateful to the book, Me and White Supremacy, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to be on this virtual pilgrimage. It continues to disrupt me, continues to challenge me, and continues to help me to see things in a different way. So thank you for being with me, and remember, here's to doing what is right and not what is easy.